Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of DoughJo Setting. Today we're going to do a how to set a paddle dyno. Now before we get into that, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. We're putting stuff out fairly frequently, so keep up to date on those. So what is a paddle dyno? Paddle dyno, or a double dyno as some people have called it, is the idea where you're dynoing to essentially an intermediate hold to redirect your momentum to the final destination hold. Sounds confusing, it's pretty simple. Let's go talk about it. Okay, so we're going to start this dyno off just like any dyno does, with one, maybe two holds. In this case we're going to use two jugs. We're going to start this climb going this way and have the jump go that way. The orientation of these holds doesn't really matter. As long as you can generate a lot of momentum off of them, that is the goal. So let's pop these on. Okay, so the next hold we're going to put on is the hold that you're actually going to paddle off of. This hold is very important and very hard to pick out. This hold needs to be good enough to catch and redirect your momentum off of, but it can't be good enough to just stop on. So we're going to try with one of these big pinches here. The key to this is if I put this horizontal, it's very easy to catch my momentum. Now if I start turning it, it's going to be a lot harder. If I'm going this way, it's going to be a lot harder to stop myself on this. So that's the goal. It's going to be almost vertical, but slightly downpull. Let's add the final hold, the one that you're ultimately going to end up on. This hold can be a lot of things as long as it's good enough to stop your momentum on. When placing this, it's kind of important where you place it. Ultimately, you don't want it to be too high above this hold to where you have to jump to this hold and create a lot of upward momentum. It also can't be super low because it's a lot harder to jump up and redirect momentum going downward. It's also a lot harder on your shoulders. So. Now I also oriented this to be a slight Gaston, and the reason being is if somebody's going to get really bold and try to skip the paddle and just go straight to this, it's going to be a lot harder for them to hold the Gaston. So the feet are also very easy. You just sort of set them up to do a dyno. So the idea with that is you need to have a driving foot, whatever foot that you're predominantly pushing off of. Have that foot be slightly higher. All right, so let's climb it, let's test it out, make sure it works, and then talk about ways that it would not work. Cool, so it does work. Now, the biggest two things that could happen for it to not work. Number one, it wouldn't be a dyno. So the first thing we're going to try to do is just try to go from these holds up to this hold without dynoing. For this particular boulder, that doesn't work. It's just a little bit out of my wingspan. Next thing we're going to try is to not paddle. We're just going to try to stop on this hold here. So this doesn't work either. The reason being, like we talked about earlier, we picked this hold for a reason. It was pretty good, but not good enough to when it's angled like that, you can stop. So there is one type of paddle. We'll probably do another video with a couple other different types of paddles that I enjoy doing, or at least things that I kind of categorize as a paddle dyno. So hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you keep an eye out for those other videos, and we'll see you next time.